While it might not be the best division in the National Football League, there's not perhaps a more interesting or compelling division for me than the AFC South. You've got four teams who all have reason to believe that their futures could be very bright. Four teams that all believe, for some reason or another, that they may have their long-term answer at the quarterback position. While it might not be the best division now, in 2 or 3 years, if all things break the way these teams want them to at the quarterback position, this could be the best division in football, the most exciting division in football, and one hell of a dogfight to watch play out year in and year out. All these teams have reason to be hopeful for the future. The Tennessee Titans, for example. They're still not a very good team, but you've got Marcus Mariota. You've got the guy who I think has the goods to be the franchise player. He is the guy that brings an identity to that team. He's the guy that makes that organization mean something. He gives them some juice, some buzz, some star power that was so desperately needed. Now you give them the quality of running game they should have, the power running game with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry as that 1-2 combination in the backfield. You protect your young quarterback better, and then you throw in what Mariota can do as a runner too. This is a team that should be able to control the clock, win the battle of time of possession some bit, and be able to protect their young quarterback and put him in better positions to succeed. And you look at Mariota and you look at the quantity of draft picks the Titans have in upcoming drafts, and you say, this is an organization that's not there yet, but they could slowly but surely be heading there. They've got some good coaching on the defensive side of the ball. I have questions about the wide receivers and the offensive line, and the overall talent on the defensive side of the ball. And this is not a ready for primetime team yet. But maybe they win 5 games this year. And you know what? For a team that's been pretty bad the past few years, just finished last year with the worst record in the league and number 1 overall pick, you'd feel pretty good about saying, hey, we're going to win a few more games. You keep Mariota upright and healthy and he progresses. You feel pretty good about the future going into 2017 and beyond. You look at the Houston Texans, they probably have a little bit more reason to believe that they're ready to go after it now off the strength of that defense and what they did even behind Brian Hoyer, winning the division last year, making the playoffs. Now you sign Brock Osweiler to a big contract. You bring in Lamar Miller to take the place of oft-injured yet talented Arian Foster. And you hope you get Jadeveon Clowney back and that he finally plays like at least a first-round pick, let alone a number 1 overall pick. There's perhaps some real reason for optimism in Houston, and understandably so, because that defense behind J.J. Watt is pretty good. J.J. Watt is arguably the best defensive player in the National Football League. If they ever get anything out of Jadeveon Clowney at all, other than a bunch of bullshit and excuses from the fucks at Pro Football Focus, oh my God, look at his abilities in the running game and in his improvement as a pass rusher. 2 problems with that. Number 1, you didn't draft him number 1 overall to stop the run. Number 2, you didn't draft him number 1 overall to talk about his improving yet far too not successful pass rush ability. Clomac was better than I told you. If they could ever get Clowney to be something close to a beast, imagine how scary that defense could be. They need Osweiler to come in and show that he's worth the money. I have reservations about giving a guy in his mid-20s with only a handful of NFL starts the amount of money that they did. They paid him like an average NFL starter or above average NFL starter. And I don't think he got enough time in Denver with the limited opportunity sitting behind Peyton Manning to show whether or not he could even be that. So let's not put the cart before the horse too much with this Houston Texans team. 2017 might be a better season for them than 2016. I've got them going 8-8 now. I think their schedule, because they were division champions, you got to factor in their schedule's a little bit tougher. It might be a 7-9 team. The Jacksonville Jaguars are a team with a lot of buzz about them. I think a lot of people are very high on their chances this year, and I'm somewhat high on them. I'm not all the way in on them. I think they're probably 1 year away from winning this division, but they should be a threat to the Colts this year. You got to like what they have at the offensive skill positions with Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns and Julius Thomas, and then T.J. Yeldon out of the backfield, developing and improving Blake Bortles. He's still got some work to do, but he got better in year 2, especially compared to year 1. The point is, with the Jaguars, you see progress, you see improvement. You finally start to think that you could see some light at the end of the tunnel. And they need to see some light at the end of the tunnel, because if they don't this year, then the last 4 years have been one colossal waste of time with Gus Bradley and David Caldwell, the general manager. When it comes to this team, you look at this year's draft, they got Jalen Ramsey in the first round and Miles Jack in the second round. That's the type of draft that, in theory, should win this team a division, should help this team make the playoffs. Whether it's this year, whether it's next year, it's coming. It's coming. It's just a matter of how soon. The two keys to success ultimately for the Jaguars this year are going to be in the trenches on both sides of the ball. It's how well does the offensive line protect Blake Bortles, and how well does the defensive line get after the opposing quarterback. If this offensive line could do a better job of protecting Bortles and this defensive line could do a better job of getting after the quarterback, this may be a wild card team this year. They may unseat the Colts this year. They may win this division. I think they're close. I just don't know if they're there yet. For all the talk that people are going to have about the Colts and how much people are going to want to crap on them and Andrew Luck and Chuck Pagano and in particular General Manager Ryan Grigson, let's not forget this was a team that made the playoffs 3 straight years with Andrew Luck as their starting quarterback. This is a team that each year went one step further in the playoffs. And Andrew Luck didn't have a good year last year when he was healthy, and then he wasn't healthy a good portion of the year. And this is still a team that was banging around in this division late, and the Houston Texans finally took it and won it. So when we talk about the Texans last year, the Texans benefited from a horrendous season by the Indianapolis Colts and the Jaguars and Titans not being ready for prime time yet. Now look at this Colts team. You've still got Andrew Luck. You've got some good talent at the offensive skill positions. I think you've made some improvements in the trenches on both sides of the ball. I really like the pick of Ryan Kelly for them on the offensive line to man the middle. I think that offensive line is improved. I think there's an appreciation on all parties for what was missing in 2015 and what everybody could bring to the table in 2016. The fact is, this is a team with quite a bit of experience, quite a bit of playoff and winning experience. This is a team that can do some damage. If people want to sleep on them, if people want to crap on them, I think that's a drastic mistake. I don't know that they're a great team. I still think they're a good team, and I think they're still good enough in 2016 to win this division with the 10-6 record. You may now go ahead and blast me in the comments and talk about, how I'm overrating the Colts and I'm licking their cracks and sucking their cocks, whatever. I don't care. The fact is they look to me to be the best team in this division once again. We can quickly forget. We want to talk about this and we want to talk about that, but are you ready to really crown the Jaguars just yet? Do you really think the Texans could go back-to-back in this division, especially with that first-place schedule? I'm just saying.